Hello! For some reason Robin's not showing because that's how this stream rolls. And I hate it all, but hopefully you can hear him. Can you hear him? Probably not. Loads of people now can all say, God, these guys are useless, they can't do anything. We did test this the other day. We did test this, that's all I can say. So, I hate the world, and I hate especially this tool. I, of course, don't mean Robin at all. I'm sorry, no one can hear Robin, so I'm going to have to go back to adding him in with audio again whilst I try and work out what's going on. I hate this tool. Who else here uses Streamlabs and hates it with a passion? So, I don't think anybody can hear you, Robin, so hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, they're about to hear you, hopefully in a moment. Say something now, Robin.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Hopefully everybody can now hear you. You're incredibly loud, so I'm going to turn you down a little bit. Hopefully everyone can now hear a Robin in the room.
Robin's in the room.
Can everybody hear a Robin?
Everybody hear me?
Andrew Marlowe says it wouldn't be an agent's live chat without the mess up at the start. Yep, that's very true. So hopefully people can now hear a Robin. Do let us know as soon as you can that you can hear a Robin. But I think people should now be able to hear him. Zach Matthews says yes. Tommy says no.
No.
Andrew says yes. Heather says hello. Hello to everyone. Sorry about that. I hate this software. I think I'm going to go back to the old software we used. We've got Streamlabs, which is meant to be great, and it does everything for you. And the poxy thing never works for me. So just hates me. Hates me. So anyway, you'll have to have Robin's disembodied voice again once more. Robin's gone quiet, he's reading.
My disembodied voice once more.
So we're going to quickly run through everybody we've got online. We've got loads of people. We've got Ed Hiller, we've got Andy Marlowe, we've got Jess Cat off on Thanksgiving break. Hello to everyone on Thanksgiving break. Hope you're having a nice time. Belgium, Peter Van Bosch is from Belgium is watching. Hello. We've got loads of people. Ed, we've got Dave Christie, we've got Zach Matthews, we've got Andy Marlowe, we've got the Battlecast. Hello. We've got Timothy Greaves, we've got Andrew Marlowe, we've got who else? We've got Tommy here, Jason Nail, just everyone, thousands of people. Mr. Pank.
Zach says you need to turn me up a bit.
Oh, okay. I should say. Well, he's not saying very much right now, so I'll turn him up a little.
I'm not. That's true. I'm very quiet at the moment.
He's being very pensive, thinking. David Christie might have already said that one. We've got everyone. If I haven't said your name, apologies. But hello to everybody.
Hello.
I'm gonna attempt to work in the background whilst we're still doing this chat to try and get Robin's picture back showing.
We tested it the other night, didn't we? And it worked just fine.
Tested it worked absolutely great. And
I think he's just trying to keep me out of the limelight.
Yeah, obviously I don't want Robin's face eclipsing mine.
No, but Zach says that's better. Baz Carter is here. Jason's arrived from Australia. Everybody's here tonight.
Everybody's loads of people. There's already 23 of you crazy, beautiful people watching us.
Fantastic.
So we better start talking about something useful. So we've got a load of questions from our Patreon supporters. And obviously, if you are one of our Patreon supporters, do head over to Discord because you can throw any extra questions out there as well. But we do already have a bunch that we're going to try and run through. Yeah, we are alone in the dark. Yes, we are definitely alone in the dark. I am definitely going to raise some complaints about this rubbishy tool that's meant to be all cool and singing and dancing, because it's not. It's rubbish.
And Tommy Hay said, can we get an MS Paint artist impression of Robin on his window? We should do that. I'll do that for next time, just in case.
I'm going to have a backup picture next time.
He's actually one of our patrons. He also said in our patron channel that that's Milky or Milky.
Yes.
On this. Hello, and hello to all our patrons as usual. Great to have you on board. And I do wish that the various ways of streaming and chatting and what have you all have people with the same names, because across the three platforms, it's like we've got 180 viewers, but actually we've only got 60.
It's very, very confusing. But it makes me feel good because, it just makes it seem like we've got even more people. Loads.
Yes, well, that is good.
It's great. So, we have many things to talk about tonight. We have loads of questions, and I'm going to try and do as many of these as possible, whilst also trying to fix getting Robin on screen, hopefully. But if not, Never mind. Is Robin using the battle cam? That would explain why there's no image. Yeah, we
Oh
didn't
yeah.
didn't get the
I'm
battle
sitting,
cam
in
on
the, I'm
our
sitting in the
videos the
garage
other
in the dark.
day. Yeah, turn the light on, Robin. Turn the light on. Right. We're just going to have to go with it as is, and we'll have to make do and mend, as it
As
were.
Peter has said, I'm alone in the darkness.
Yep.
I'm worth 2 glory.
It's a bit much,
sad,
though. Too glory.
But sadly cycled out.
Sadly, no longer applicable.
No.
Yep, we weren't resurrected in the...
A relic, if you will.
Yep. Not going to say anything about that one.
Okay.
So... Here we've got some questions tonight, and we've got some questions about our opinions about stuff as usual, and some questions about some bits to do with the game as well. So we might as well start off with some personal ones, and then obviously if anybody else has any.
We said we weren't going to have these personal questions.
What are you wearing right now?
I'm going to start with this one just in from Ben Howard. When will the Rippers battle report happen? Well, Pete, when's it going to happen?
Friday. There will definitely be one this Friday. There will also be a second one following very, very quickly afterwards for our Patreon supporters as well. We have done, as per our Patreon supporter poll, the Patreon supporter poll, we have done a game of Ripper versus the Hunt, and also Ripper versus the Grimwatch.
With faction-only cards.
So this week there will be, on Friday on YouTube will be the Grimwatch one, and then Patreon will get this hopefully on the Saturday, maybe the Sunday, we'll get the one versus the Hunt. Ben
Howard is very pleased.
Yes.
Anybody play many faction specific only cards from the new? Obviously, it's a new Beastgrave thing that you can just play them straight out of the box. Has anybody done much of it, or does everybody dive straight in with the universals?
Yeah, because I don't want to influence anybody's opinion on them, but I think they're shite.
It's definitely a different game. I don't think it's shite. I don't want to give too much away about the games that haven't been shown yet. But
we did have a mixture of results for Ripper in those two games. So it's not like they did terrible in all the games or anything like that, or that they had a cakewalk through all of the games.
I think you're more reliant on card. It feels like you're more reliant on card order when you play with the faction specific cards. If the cards come out in the wrong order, you're basically screwed.
It does feel a bit like that, yeah, because you are
with your own deck. You kind of build it so that you've got redundancy, or not redundancy, the opposite of redundancy.
Employmency.
Yes, employmency. Everything works. So the battle cards thinks it's always worth giving the base cards a go. Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I do enjoy. I do enjoy playing them some of the time. I enjoy starting to play them anyway.
Dave Christie says he foresees cursing in the next bat reps.
There was some cursing.
Little bit.
Remember, there was some cursing.
There were some rather pain noises at certain points. But yeah, I think it's definitely worth trying them out. But I do think that the Rippers ones, they rely a lot on you having 2 or 3 people, or doing 2 or 3 things, that kind of thing, which can be really, really tricky to pull off when you've got 3 people, when a lot of your cards are
especially as you don't have, without having the universal cards, you don't have the options to play, I don't know, centre of attention or something to bring people close together.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you've got to rely on your positioning in the game, and I think there's one card that enables you to push people. And even that, I think they have to be adjacent for it to work properly. I can't quite remember. But it is a... like I say, if the cards don't come out at the right time, then it's hard. And Rippers are quite difficult as well, because you haven't got very many accuracy bonuses within the deck that don't rely on support. So again, if you haven't got the supports for some reason, then it's hard to kind of, you keep missing with the first attack. So the wolves, they do get their attack often, but they often miss too.
Sort of snowballs a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do rely on those wolf attacks. I think if you don't have those wolf attacks, you can really start to struggle. Having those backups, and there are ways to counter those, so that can really cause you a headache. Yeah.
Face versus TG Blackout, yes. You got any clothes got me working yet, Pete?
Sorry? I can't get it working, this stupid thing. It's one of those things where it's like, it's really simple. You just click on this thing, you do add NDI input, and then you just add it.
Do I change the setting? I changed the setting, didn't I?
I don't know. Okay. No, because you should be able to change the thing in your Skype version, and it should just I mean, you should save that setting. So it should work. And we did try it. We
We
did
did
set
do
it
it.
up, and we did have both of us talking and both of us on screen, and it worked fine. And
It did.
now it just hates us again. I'm going to go back to OBS because this one sucks. So anyway, what else we got? They left that 2+ dice ploy out at the starter deck, maybe. Yeah. So let's crash on with some other non-Rippery based questions, I guess. Although I just spotted a statement up there where Robert Gunn did say faction only games is good for getting new people into the game. Definitely, I do like that about the new entire factions based sort of decks, because I just find that, I don't know about you, Robin, but I just think it just makes the game that much more easy to play, especially for us when we're trying to come up with new decks every week, new warbands and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Ishpek says the software sucks. What idiots make this stuff? Ishpek, do you make? You say me? Do you make Source Labs? Not Source Labs, Streamlabs, whatever it is I'm using here. OBS, Streamlabs, OBS.
Or just software
or
generally.
just software
maybe.
in general, because I'm a tester, and I agree, developers make rubbish software, but they make better software than everybody else. Isn't there a Churchill saying that says something like, democracy? No, can never remember it.
Yeah, it is pretty much that.
Isn't it something like that? Basically, democracy is the worst kind of something or other, but it's it's the best one there is, or something like that. I can't remember. Or it's a terrible form of governance. Anyway. That's enough of history. I never did well in history at school. Let's crash on with some questions, shall we? So we did get asked one about what do we, and this does tie in quite nicely to that in a way. Not part of that problem. Okay. All right, I'll let you off. Rob Watson asked us, do we have any opinions on net decking? Given the time, would we prefer to create our own decks? For him, he loves the challenge of building a deck from scratch, playing with it, discovering the flaws, reworking it. Also taking a deck off the net and gone straight into a game, found it challenging, giving young didn't necessarily understand how it should work. Robin, you want to hit that one first?
I would always rather build my own decks, and I think all of my decks are brilliant right up until the point I play them. And I much prefer that. I don't like net decking. There's two reasons I don't like net decking. One is it feels a bit lazy. And the other thing is you don't really get the sense. I find I don't really get the sense of the warband or how the deck is played, and then actually it can really come unstuck if you get to the table and you haven't. I always think, I've got time to research it and look at the cards and work out what the synergies are, and of course I don't. So
that is one of the big problems, isn't it? Is that you do need that time to be able to really go through and work out what your synergies and stuff are, and that kind of situation.
And if you don't take that time, you get to a situation where you're in the bottom of the third end phase, or not third end phase, the third activation, and you've got like, should I move or should I switch out my objectives, and you can't remember what objectives are in the deck because you didn't revise it properly. Well, at least if you've built it, you've got a vague chance of remembering what's there. So I would always rather build my own, but I have no problem with people net decking. That's up to them.
I find that I quite like when we do net deck or we play with the faction decks, that kind of thing. I do like the fact that it gives us a lot less effort. It's a lot less effort for us in preparation for the game. And it is right, I think, when they says that you can pick a deck up, but you don't necessarily know what you're meant to do with it. You don't know what's a good opening hand, that kind of thing. I find that even when we're building our own decks, it's still a little like net decking, because whilst you should know what the cards are that are in there, you've only had 3 or 4 days to prep it, really. You've not necessarily had the time to play any games with it, so you don't know what a good opening hand is. You've got an idea of how things should go, but as Mike Tyson always says, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face, and the minute something starts to go wrong, you just don't necessarily know how to recover from that.
No, though we don't punch each other in the face. We should
not so much anymore.
Say that.
Yeah, we've got over that a little bit.
Yeah, nearly did in the Ripper game. The sense of accomplishment for making a deck which works is great. Yes, I definitely agree with that, Andrew. It's really nice. Of course, the converse of that is true as well. When your deck falls apart around you, then it can really suck. And you don't get that with a net deck, because if a net deck falls apart, it's not your fault.
You can blame the deck. What idiot made this deck? Oh, it's me. Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Jason Neal says, is net decking just replacing your veranda with a big hammock?
Quite possibly.
Our Red Rose Wargaming have turned up. Hello.
Yeah.
But I do find to an extent that our games, even when we built the deck, it still feels a little net decky to me because we just don't have the time to play multiple games with them, and people
No.
don't want to see us playing the same deck over and over again. So
No,
it
no,
gets a bit
that
boring.
is true. We do only play kind of like a couple of games with the deck, which is good and bad. But it's not. I don't feel like it's net decking. I do feel like it's my deck when I play them. And nobody else is crazy enough to try and score infestation and coveted spores, for example.
The problem is though, if you build what you think is a good deck and you fail with it, it can be really defeating because you're like, why can't I make a good deck? And you might have
Yeah,
made a good deck, but you've only played 1 or 2 games with it.
that's
So
a real problem with it. You can normally see some elements that could be changed, but yes, if you get
yeah,
if with just 2 games you can't get a feel for what might be a good deck, or even just with a small change, it could become a great deck.
yeah,
Or maybe because it's really hard to even when we record it, it's really hard to remember how the dice fell out sometimes, no matter how good your deck is.
yeah.
Or even just a crucial dice roll at the right time could make a difference.
Yep, and here's another good content creators. A jack of all trades says the battlecast, but master of none. It feels sometimes.
Absolutely,
Definitely.
I'm definitely the master of none. I'm definitely with that bit.
I'm the jack of no trades and the master of bugger all.
Peter, a bit further up, has said, "Do you have any difficulties including only 3 restricted cards in your decks?" I do not these days. I have not found. I used to have struggle with 5 in the Shadespire days because there were so many great restricted cards. But nowadays, I don't really struggle at all. In fact, I was almost contemplating because my current deck for tomorrow's match is down to. I think I still need to cut about 8 cards. I was actually thinking of cutting. One of the ones I was thinking of cutting was actually a restricted card, which would only left me with 2 in the deck. And then I was thinking, well, that's madness. Exactly. So
I find that there's like 3 main cards you nearly always take of the restricted ones. It's nearly always calculated risk, Tome of Offerings, and Trap or something like that. Or Pit Trap, rather, or something. It's nearly always like...
I may have 2 of those 3 in the deck.
Or possibly you might take 2 of the objectives. You might take, say, Warning Shot and...
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. I literally just said it. Calculated risk, that kind of thing. But yeah, I find the ones that are now restricted, they're mostly a no-brainer. But if you go Magic, obviously, then you're going to take the Magic ones instead. So...
There's some jokes about Magic the Gathering cards being played in the decks because Andrew's obsessed with making me play a Magic deck. I'm coming a bit more around to Magic these days, Andrew. I think I quite like the fact that you can play it as almost like in a supporting role for a couple of warbands, and I quite like that. I don't like an all Magic deck, but I think a little bit of Magic to support is quite good. I don't really like an all-out offensive kind of. The Nightfall meta with Stormsire just standing in the middle blasting everybody. Not so keen on that. But magic used for shenanigans. I'm always up for shenanigans.
Always shenanigans.
Yeah. Exactly.
So another question we got asked by Dead Hands was, as a new player, are there any must-have warbands from the Shadespire Night Vault sets? He wants to eventually get them all, but he doesn't have the money to splash out all in one go. Very familiar with that problem. So I'm not sure which warbands you do already have, or whether you've just got Beastgrave and the current warbands. From Night Vault, I'd say... What warbands will I get from Night Vault?
Well, I think in the current meta, Thundrix and the Thorns themselves from the starter set are the kind of the 2 big ones that are doing well at the moment. And you can see why. And I have to say the Thorns, they have a lot of tricks, and they're with the keys back in the game. I think that you want to pick those up.
Yeah.
I can't remember which cards come in which decks now.
No, I can't either.
Yeah, but Thundrix as well. And you should just get Eyes of the Nine because they're brilliant.
not biased at all there. I'd say go for like someone like Sepulchral Guard or Skaven as well, but I think they've both been made a little bit redundant with later warbands now. So
yeah, and the problem with getting Shadespire warbands is I don't even know how easy they are to buy now, but of course the cards are out of date as well, so you're not getting very much for your money. I guess you can, so I don't know.
VJ's online. Happy birthday, VJ.
Oh, happy birthday. What a treat for you.
In all the way over there, from all the way over here. So
Timothy says the Orcs because he's really good with the Orcs.
Yeah, well, you can't knock a man for suggesting Warband that took him into the top 16, can you?
No, exactly.
Bloke knows a bit more about Orcs than we do, that's all I'm saying. So yeah, I think Warbands wise, Thundrix, Ilthari, Eyes, possibly like the Gits or something like that. If you can get the Night Vault box, I'd still grab that as well, because you'll
Oh,
get
yeah, the
two
Gits.
Warbands out of
I do
it.
like the Gits. I'm actually thinking of taking the Gits to the Grand Clash, but that will
Ooh.
answer a question later.
It will
Uh,
answer a question later.
coming up.
We might as well come on to
Yeah.
that now then. Andrew
Well, there
Marlowe.
is one here that Anthony's asked in the comments, which is in our experience with Rippers so far, have you felt they are too dice dependent compared to a lot of the current meta? They are definitely dice dependent, and I don't like
Yeah.
dice dependence, despite playing 8 all the time.
You're very dice dependent just on my terrible dice, not your good dice. Yeah, they can be a bit dice dependent. I think they need those attacks. They certainly need the doggo attacks, and if they don't
Yeah.
get those, they can really start to struggle. I think.
You have kind of limited, yeah, and you're limited on even on those doggo attacks because they only can have things that re-roll attack dice. They can't add attack dice to their attack, so they are very limited.
Yeah.
And you are basically often pinning your hopes that you can get the 2 damage off with their attack, especially in the start of the game. And their inspire mechanic, we've only played with the faction specific cards so far, but they're hard to inspire because if the person ignores the leader, then the other 2 don't inspire. So you've got to get some glory, and we found that difficult with the main box.
I'm trying to work out I mean, there are people out there who've already won glass with the doggos, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what their decks compromise of. I think they've taken a lot of, I think a bit like my Despoilers deck, they've taken lots of like the Amber Bone Axe and the things to give you lots of extra glory and stuff like that, and then things like Potion of Rage and things to up your dice count and stuff like that. I wonder if Ripper's guys will do quite nicely having the tactic of sending Ripper forward and being like one of the only viable targets, and keeping the other 2 hanging back a bit to maybe grab objectives or go for other easier score objectives like that.
So that's interesting because I thought that, and then he said because we had a little chat about it on Facebook, and he said keep Ripper back at all costs, or he's the last one you charge for, or something like that. He said, and I thought, well, that's really odd because I would have thought you basically not quite dangle him, but you give him, because as soon as somebody attacks him, then your other 2 are inspired, and you're sort of kind of away.
If they attack him, he's inspired, isn't it? Or no? He inspires if he gets it. Yeah, so the minute he gets attacked at all, the other 2 inspire. So I would have thought it'd be better to charge with him, get the other 2 inspired, and then go from there. But what do I know? I haven't won glass with them.
Since having that conversation, I haven't gone back and looked at the stats of the cards, or the comparative inspire differences between the 3 of them, which I probably need to do. But that's. Yes, so there you go. I'm not sure how yet, but I'm playing them tomorrow, so I better find out.
Yeah, I reckon I'd try and build a deck around sending Ripper in as a kill me, I'm here, because depending on who you're playing, they might not have the option. They might have to go for Ripper. They might not have a range attack option or the speed to be able to get across to the other 2. So if you can place it right, then you might be able to do that. Inspire the other 2.
Ripper bait and then play Boss Hat. I'd forgotten about Boss Hat. I kind of dropped that early on, but actually.
Yeah, Boss Hat could be quite handy, as long as it comes out early enough. But
if you check that out, Andrew's defecting to the Battlecast as we speak.
Andrew, how dare you? How dare you?
We're right here, Andrew.
Yeah, for God's sakes, man, you could at least wait until we've gone. I did watch the Battlecast games with the Oryx in. That was a close second game. That was a close second game near the end. I didn't think the Oryx were going to win that. That was good stuff.
The playing field is a bit more level now. I think Oryx can do. I mean, obviously Timothy, who's watching, has done well with the Oryx. I do feel like there's less of a gap between top and bottom. I'd actually think I'd like to play the Chosen Axes again, because I think they're probably a bit stronger than they were in Night Vault. Because
especially now you've got things like I can't remember the card that gives you the +2 move, but that one.
Spectral Wing.
Spectral Wings, that's it. And you've got some movement shenanigans back again, stuff like that.
You have, and you've kind of got things to score glory on objectives on the way, which was kind of a big problem with Chosen Axes, was that you couldn't accumulate any glory in the first turn because you spent the whole time trying to get on objectives.
Yeah.
And you were maybe relying on a supremacy payoff if you were lucky enough to have 3 objectives in your half.
Yeah.
But you haven't got that now. You've got options. Ishpek wishes Chosen Axes were viable, so you're saying they're still not viable?
I mean, we've not tried them. There's probably other people out there who've tried them a lot more. So we shall. Sorry, VJ. For some reason, the software I'm using, Streamlabs OBS, seems to suck.
It's basically Ishpek's fault. We established. Is that right? Did you get that right?
Yeah. So sadly, it didn't work. We did even test it a couple of days ago. We tested it out, and it worked. So don't know why it's now not working, but I hate Streamlabs, and
Yep.
despite it being great and making life much easier, I'm going to go back to OBS at some point. And I mean, you guys probably won't notice any different. It was just meant to be nicer and shiny for us
Well, they
to
might
be able to
see
do
me.
things easier. But
That'd be a
yeah,
bit
you
different.
might see Robin. So whether that'll be an upside or a downside yet. Yeah. Battlecast, remember when
I'm very
everyone lost
close
their
to
shit over
West
Fuel's
Wales.
release? I do remember that. Everyone was like, "Oh, Fuel, oh my god." In fact, he earned the name very quickly in our garage as Crazy Fuel. Crazy
Crazy
Fuel!
Fuel. Yeah,
So
and
he
actually,
was.
Tef's the hero in that deck, in that group.
I
I
think
reckon.
he's. Yeah, but Fuel does his part because he tends to
Oh, yeah,
distract people.
yeah.
Because people are like, holy
Kamikaze
Christ,
Fuel.
he's scary as, and he gives you time to get Tef
Yeah.
ready and reeling.
Anyway,
So,
we're talking about 2 years ago.
yeah, we are. So
Let's get
next
back up to
question,
date.
let's get back onto track. So let's talk about some Grand Clash stuff. Have we got
Okay.
any idea of what warbands we'll be taking, what kind of decks we're going to have? I still have no idea.
No,
None
it's
at all.
somebody said. I think in one of the questions, it's only 6 weeks to the Grand Clash.
I
It's
know.
like it's not. It can't be.
It's oh
Only
god.
6 weeks to the Grand Clash. But I don't know. People with kids will probably know this. That there's a time vortex between Christmas. It's basically an infinite amount of time between now and January that you have to get through, and then it's Christmas, and then that's done. And then suddenly it'll be January, and then it'll be time to think about the Grand Clash, and then it'll be 2 weeks away or something.
Yeah.
I have considered. I've got 2 decks, not built, but with ideas. I'm going for some Gits, a Gits deck and an Eyes of the Nine deck that I'm contemplating playing.
I'm thinking possibly I might either go Despoilers with an all-out offensive kind of deck, just so I don't
We've
have
got
to
some lovely painted despoilers
tax
for
my.
him.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, looking forward to seeing
So
them.
that's good.
So I'm thinking I might take them just to go all-out offensive, maybe try and ruin people's objective play a little, and just generally give myself an easy ride without having to think too hard. Or maybe even Magore's, because I made a Magore deck. That's what we're going to be playing this week, Magore versus
Right.
Ripper, and I don't dislike it. So
It's funny how we have confidence in our new decks every
Yeah.
week. I'm like, oh well, yeah, if this deck
Yeah.
works out for Ripper, I'll take them. But I know.
and then by
gonna crash
about
it, but
11:45 that night, stupid deck, stupid rubbish deck.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I won't be taking Ripper because I don't think I could cope with missing, the dice rolls. I think that would do me in. So I think probably I will take either the Gits or the Eyes of the Nine. But you never know. There's still time for me to change my mind.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It only takes a single game where everything seems to work right. You're like, yeah, I could take glass with this deck. Oh yeah, this could do it.
I've never wouldn't think that.
No, true. The next question we were asked was, would we be up for some friendly games on Saturday after Grand Clash, provided we don't get in the top 16? Well, it's
You mean the
guaranteed.
Sunday or the
Well,
Saturday?
it says Saturday because I think the Saturday's only 4 games now.
Oh, I see.
So before it was 5 games and it was a much bigger ordeal. I think this time round it's going to be 4 games Saturday and then you've got the 6 single game Sunday. I personally, I'm guaranteed to not be in the top 16. So through sheer dint of the fact that I won't be able to play enough games with my deck to make it good enough, and I'm also not good enough. So I won't be in the top 16. I get you probably won't, Robin. So
I'm counting on it.
So I'm really hoping not. So I think yes, we'll be up for some friendly games either on the Saturday or the Sunday.
I think so. I think I'll be up for maybe possibly not on the Saturday. Depends how badly it's gone. It depends if you. But I will definitely be up for like burgers and fries. So maybe after that, I might play some friendly games.
Yeah. And Peter Van Bosch says, "Will we see Champions of Dreadfriend in the Grand Clash? Are they a must-have?" Well,
Somebody will bring them.
I was never a fan of the Stormcast when they came out because their Inspire mechanic requiring crits just seemed too flaky for me. I think the Mournflight are much better, much tougher competition, and they did win the Grand Clash in, was it the SoCal Grand Clash?
Yeah,
But
that's the Grand Clash I want to go to.
Yeah, there were only about 18 entrants. So is it a Grand Clash? Is it even a clash? Is it just a bit of a punch up in the car park? Don't want to take away from anybody's win because they still have glass and I don't. So
I just meant I wanted to go to Southern California. I do.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind that either. And yes, Ed, we're on chips again. What's chips, precious? Chips. I don't like chips. So yes, we will definitely be up for some games there. And another question of what warbands will be you afraid of facing in the Grand Clash? I'll answer this one first. any of them.
So,
They all terrify me.
Which ones are we
Afraid
worried about
of
meeting?
facing, yeah. All of
Yeah,
them. They all terrify me.
yeah. I think I'm Grimwatch. Grimwatch somebody knows how to play them.
Yeah, true, but then...
And anything piloted by J. Clare.
Yeah. I came up against J. Clare in the Grand Clash, and the second game was a bit closer, actually. First game, he trounced me, though. Absolutely smashed me. So, yeah, I don't know which I'd rather... I don't know who I'd rather come up against. I don't think I'd mind coming up against a Stormcast Warband as much. I just find that having less targets on the opposition side feels a bit easier to me.
Yeah.
But then they can get really tough really quick. So
yeah, I quite like 4 games against a Purple Guard. That'd be good.
Oh, that was the other Warband I was thinking of taking. A completely hang back, uber defensive, nothing.
Don't do it.
Nothing reliant on anybody else kind of Sepulchral Guard deck.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I do a good Golem, thank you very much.
He does do a very good Golem.
Thank you very much. I did an impression of Mickey Mouse as well today at work, and someone was like, "Have you ever thought about doing that professionally?" And I was like, "No, it's really a lot worse than it actually sounds if you play it back." So, what playstyles would we have the least fun playing against? We've talked about this before, but I detest playing games where it's an all eggs in one basket affair. It just feels like it really polarises the game for me.
Yeah, I mostly don't want to play people who are good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I don't really like the sitting back and not getting involved games.
Like
but
a tomb deck.
Well, yeah.
Tome.
But having said that, they do provide a different challenge, which I do quite like. But I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think
they kind of feel the same. Tome decks kind of feel the same to me as a all eggs in one basket deck, because they're just racing to get all of those books on one person.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Well, people are still playing tomes, aren't they? So yeah, I don't know. I don't really fear anything particularly, but I think I just fear everything equally. I think it's probably
yeah. I mean, I don't mind playing a game as long as there's... I really enjoy the games where it's got lots of objectives, lots of moving and running around, stuff like that. That's pretty much my ideal kind of games. There's a lot of interaction, all that kind of thing. But I don't like the games where the person just hangs back, or it's all on one thing, all tomes on one basket, like Jason says. So... I think King Dale Clark, you might be in the wrong chat. I'm not sure we can help you with your problems.
Yeah, I'm
okay. Sorry if you were mucking around. If you were, message us privately and we can add you back in. So, any advice for people who've never been to a Grand Clash before or a tournament of any kind? Well, speaking with our wealth of experience of one Grand Clash, I would say don't worry about it, because it's great fun. And it doesn't really matter, what kind of... As long as you're going to have fun, don't get too hit up on the idea of, whether you're going to win the glass or not. Just go along with the premise of having some fun, playing some games, and you'll probably have some fun and play some games. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Do take a hoodie, though.
Yeah, it was cold. On one of the games, I was absolutely frozen.
Yeah. That was freaking cold. I was incredibly nervous when I got there, as I think Robin was as well. There was definitely a lot of nerves. And I think my first game I was up against Mr. Marlowe. And I was still, even knowing that Andrew was a Patreon supporter and was a very nice man and bought Robin some coffee when he asked for tea. And he was very, very helpful and very, very polite. And even then, I was still incredibly nervous. Up until about the third or fourth game in, I was still incredibly nervous. And then after that, I just realised it wasn't actually that bad overall. It was actually a good laugh.
Yeah, I have this bizarre thing where I go through something the first time and it's okay, and then second time I do it, I'm even more nervous. So I'm actually kind of sort of dreading going, but I will go.
Yeah. I mean, neither of us had ever done anything like that.
Yeah, and kind of I think I'm worried about doing even worse than last time. So I think one of the questions later is we didn't, you didn't feel like you'd done particularly well, what would you consider to be a good position or something? Which feels like there could be a rude answer to that question. But I don't really know, but I think I am really worried that I couldn't have come. I kind of struggled to do much better. But
You couldn't struggle to do much worse, you mean?
yes, sorry, I'll probably struggle to do much better. But yeah, I kind of am worried about not embarrassing myself, because it wasn't embarrassing. I played some good players and I lost some games, and I did win a game, and I enjoyed the experience, and I learned a few things. And mostly I enjoyed the experience, but I am worried that actually I will do even worse and manage to come last or second last. I think I was third last time. Although it's slightly, it wasn't as bad as I thought, because the way that the best coast pairing works, if people buggered off home after 3 matches, they potentially finished higher than me, which is really unfair.
Tim says he can't wait for it. He's looking forward to seeing us as well. We are looking forward to seeing all of you Patreon supporters out there. It's going to be awesome. And yes, Andrew, it was a great game. I don't remember a lot of it. I was quite sweaty and shaking from the terror. But yes, it was great fun overall. And I can't wait to go again, seeing everybody. Just going along and playing some games. It was great fun.
Yeah, and I'm really sorry that you forgot about my order, Andrew.
Poor Andrew.
It was fine. It was a very nice cup of coffee. It certainly needed it. I don't know whether Timothy's playing with me now, whether he really is just sending the same message 4 times by accident.
Zach says, can you go to the Grand Clash to spectate? Yes, because the main hall is still completely open.
Yes, you can.
So there are people in there playing 40k and all other things. They've got tables booked and stuff like that. So you can go along just to watch, hang around, sort of lurk in a corner, all that kind of stuff if you went. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, my last game, I pretty much spectated that as well. I just sat and watched.
Just like, this is nice. Being taken apart systematically. I could roll some dice, make me feel involved a little bit.
Victor has said, will there be some online coverage? I suspect there will. I don't think they had a few issues with the previous one, but I suspect they'll do it again. I was toyed with the idea of contacting them and seeing whether they'd like us to do the commentary. Because I think that might be where our strength lies rather than playing the game.
I think we're more entertaining to listen to than educational to watch play.
I know that I've forgotten his name, the Candy Roller Crick guy. I know he obviously wants to play to get his ticket to the big one in
That's
America.
True, yeah, he's got to play some matches if he wants to get if he wants to get that ticket to America, he's gonna have to win a tourney.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of feel like he's probably not going to commentate, but I don't know that. He said in his last piece that I read about it that he hadn't decided what he was going to do.
Yeah.
So you guys should do the commentary. That's very well. I think actually we'd be quite good at doing the commentary. So
I'd love to do that.
Maybe I should send GW an email and just see whether they'd be interested, because I'd probably enjoy that more than playing as well.
It's worth pointing out that we did send them an email to challenge them to a game on the channel, and they never responded. So I think we're already victors in our own little world.
Warhammer Worlds Underworlds online or online.
Oh, hello!
They're very entertaining. Hello.
We are especially looking forward to Underworlds Online being available next year, early next year. We got to play the beta very briefly. I raised some very stupid bugs that I realised afterward weren't bugs too, and just me being an idiot. And
okay, I played one game before because we literally got the PCs right at the death of the beta.
I got one game in.
I enjoyed it. It was good.
Yeah, it was good. I
John was
think
pretty good on commentary. I've heard people say that John was good. I didn't see it, so I don't know.
Previous Grand Clash winners getting invited to the Masters anyway. So
they don't get the ticket, do they? I don't think.
Do they not? Well, Daniel Fellows says so. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think they can go, but there's like if you win certain events, you get the.
I'm sure it was only like Grand Clashes in 2020 onwards. You'd actually win
all expenses paid. Yeah. And I have to say, because there was a bit of argy-bargy on Facebook today talking about being easier to qualify. I don't think anybody was really quite saying that, but there was the possibility of more people in the US qualifying than the UK. But really, unless you win one of those tickets or are really dedicated, then getting to America to play Warhammer Underworlds in the final, if you haven't got a seat paid. I mean, we couldn't do it. If I somehow got a ticket, to win a Grand Clash and got a ticket, didn't get a ticket over there, I couldn't go over there to play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not entertaining the idea that that we'd ever get in that position. No, I'm never going to win a Grand Clash as much as I'd like to.
Yeah,
But
Daniel said you have to pay for yourself. But I think that there are, yeah, I think it's like certain 4 Grand Clashes. I can't remember how many tickets there are that will they'll pay the travel.
yes, but I think they're only ones you win next year. I think the ones any winners this year can go, but they have to pay their own travel.
Yeah, exactly. So although John can go, he'll be eligible to go. I think he'll probably be trying to get the
trying to win himself an all-paid expenses seat.
Who wouldn't if they had the chance? I mean,
especially with John's track record, he's won a lot of glass. So, yeah. Are you looking forward to the inevitable video of the spiffing brick exploiting bugs in your game? If there are any bugs in that game, I won't ever find them. I'll still be trying to work out how to actually attack with one.
Certainly won't exploit them. We're not exploitative.
I'll still be trying to work out how to make the harvester attack or something like that. Why isn't it working? But we're also looking forward to when it all comes out and it's live, streaming some Underworlds online games as well, because that will help us get more content out online without
streaming. 46-year-old man tries to use modern technology.
It'd be funny just to put a webcam up just to watch you try to work it out. Yeah. It'd be like Gogglebox. It'd be like trying to watch someone trying to play.
Be funny. Well, it will be funny, but people will be laughing at me and not with me.
Look, Robin, if it gets us the views, just do it, all right? Okay? Just shush. Another question was, how much glory do you think a deck needs to score to be deemed effective? Now, I read a few things on this recently, and people like John, he says he doesn't leave home without at least 16, I think.
Okay.
So I think... I mean, he seems to know what he's doing. I would say I probably aim for about 15 or 16.
I haven't read that, but I try to get 16. Anything under 16 feels like it's light. Warhammer Underworlds can't wait for us all to play and stream. Yes, well, we're
very excited for it. Yeah. Very, very excited for it. Yeah. I wish we could have played more when it came out, but our machines didn't arrive in time, as Robin said. Yeah. But it was great to play the game. It was just awesome to see everything alive again and see it all moving around. Like I played a game of Blood Bowl as well, and was loving that as well, despite the fact that I did freaking awfully. It was terrible, but loved it anyway.
Yeah. So I think 16 glory is where you're at. I mean, maybe if you've got things like Amberbone and Tomes of Offering, maybe you could go a little bit. I've got it Tomes. Yeah, Tomes of Offering. It is Tomes. Tomes of Offering now. You could maybe think about going a little lower. And I have to say, with some of the cards that have been cycled out, for a full aggro deck, which I've been trying to build with the Rippers this week, it's quite hard to get up above 16 glory.
Yeah, I think especially with an aggro deck, yes, I agree fully. I think you can get nearer the low 20s mark if you're going for a lot more things like Dug In, Supremacy and things like that. So...
I can say, David Christie, that bug has now been fixed in the Ages of Sigmar garage. The frenzied search bug has been fixed. Well, I dare say we'll forget at some point, but yes.
No, well, I don't know. I think quite often we have a blind spot with a card and we get it wrong a few times, and then once people have reminded us multiple times after, it gets ingrained into my head that I'll never forget that. I'll forget something else next time, though, like Trophy Belt and having to be adjacent or something like that.
Yeah, what did we get wrong? I got the Path to Glory or whatever it is. I'm not sure that's quite what it's called, but got that round the wrong way.
Well, you have to kill one person, stand on 2 objectives, rather than kill 2 people and stand on 1 objective. Something like that. Yeah. It chats now. The bug logs. Warhammer need a Jira board. I think Warhammer Underworlds already have plenty of Jiras raised. I think they've got plenty to be getting through at the moment. Another question that Andrew asked, which does actually tie back to something you said earlier, which was we seemed rather disappointed with our ranking of the Grand Clash we went to last time. What ranking would we be proud of getting?
Top half.
Yeah, if I get mid table obscurity, I'll be happy.
If I got in the top half, I'd be pleased.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I agree. I'd be the same.
But my aim is to not do worse than last time.
Yeah. I think I'd do the same thing. I've got a little bit of added pressure there because I think I ended up coming about 50 something out of 80. So I made top 2/3. So I've got to do better than that, or at least try. But I did take Scritch last time, so I kind of didn't give myself many options in the first place.
I'm just going to stay silent in that case.
The problem we both have is neither of us are liable to take incredibly competitive decks. We're just going to take decks that we like. Yeah. And so we're not going to be as competitive. And I think that's why we won't come top 16 basically. So, yeah. Bit Van Bush said that he loved that they implement Sepulchral Guard. I agree. I love the Sepulchral Guard. I think they look brilliant in the game, so I'm very much happy with that. And then last question Andrew asked was, which warband do you think requires balls of steel to play in the new meta?
Chosen Axes.
Chosen Axes probably, yeah. Oryx, I think if you play Oryx, you've got a good solid pair on you there to play a game like that.
Sepulchral Guard.
Sepulchral Guard, yeah. Still tempted to take them, I've got to say.
Yeah, that's because you balls of steel.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's a bit cold here tonight. I think one thing I do like about the game now is that there are more optional styles of play available. You can play objective heavy, you can play offensive, you can play flex.
Yes.
You can play any of those. Before, I'd have said you were mental if you played an objective heavy deck in the summer before Beastgrave came out. That would just be a recipe for getting your face handed to you. But now I think there's a lot more options, which I love.
Yeah. Gits for balls of steel. Well, I might take the Gits, so maybe I've got balls of steel.
Yeah. And Pit Van Bosch says, any favourite gambits from third season? Restless Prize. I think Restless Prize is a...
I do like a Restless Prize.
It is a, yeah.
I actually really like, although it's not... I like Shifting Reflection and Mirror Move in this meta, which I know they're not Beastgrave cards, but because of Beastgrave, they're now great again.
They are.
And although I was slightly disappointed because Distractions come back, and I feel like Mirror Move, although it's got potential to be more interesting and better, Distraction just is reliable. So I have a feeling that I will always take that over Mirror Move now.
Ishpek says, it's been a while, can you hear us sing Ready for Action? Now we would, but because it's streaming and we're Skyping each other, it's atrocious. What I am going to try and do is get a little audio clip for it next time when we come up live. So just before we come live, you'll hear a little Ready for Action, just because I'm that bored sometimes.
And Thomas said he'd be happy to watch practice matches leading up to the clash where we hone a deck. Well, we will probably play some in the new year. I imagine probably in the new year we'll just play three or four.
You say new year, but I mean the Grand Clash is on like the 18th.
Yeah, so that's fine. That's 2 weeks.
We haven't got very long.
That's 2 weeks. That's about what we did last time.
Atrocious is better than nothing. Well,
maybe before Christmas. Well, maybe we'll have a pre-Christmas Grand Clash off.
Yeah, we could do it. I mean, this ties into another.
We normally do it
question
on Wednesday, which is Christmas Day, so we could meet on Christmas Day and do Underworlds, our first Grand Clash deck. What do you reckon, Pete?
Yeah, bit of turkey. You can sit there, watch us in a comatose turkey stuffed state, trying to work out what we're doing. I'm gonna play. Oh, sorry, fell asleep. Coma. I don't know what I'm doing. Pull a cracker. But that does tie into another question we got asked by Matthew, who said, when, if ever, do you think you'll go back to doing the bat rep format where we picked a pool of... We each had a pool of warbands. We had to pick one each.
Oh, yes.
Because you didn't know who you were going up against. And I agree, because he says he liked the fact that we didn't know who we were going up against. And I did like that as well. Possibly, we could get our Patreon supporters to give each of us a stable of warbands. Yeah. And then we could, each week... One of us would play with the warband we're thinking of taking to Clash, and the other person can pick from that stable, and we could do something like that. So you'll get varied warbands come up still, because I don't think we're going to see any new warbands before the Grand Clash now. So maybe we could do that.
The problem is that Games Workshop's release schedule this time has meant that there's been a more steady trickle of warbands. Yeah. So we'll kind of, when a new warband comes out, we have to kind of play that so everybody can see what that's like. So we have, just when we might start thinking about doing a new, getting a collection of things for a stable, they release another warband, so then we have to play them again. And then we've got the fact that you can now play faction-specific cards, warband straight out of the box. We play a couple of matches of that. That adds to the time. But I have to say, although I haven't got a stable of warbands, I do. More so this year, but I do play very much with just this deck has got to be an all-comers deck. So in some ways, for me, it doesn't matter too much. Like I haven't really considered the fact that you're playing Magors this week. I've just built a deck that I think is good. So
yeah, but it is tricky. Like when you know you're coming up against like a 3-fighter warband, there are certain cards that you might not take. Like you might not take any, which are take 2 people out of action this round.
Well, if you're a cheat, then yeah.
Well, it's hard though, and you've done it as well in the past.
I have taken Scrum this week, even though I know I'm playing.
Gutsy.
It's 3 versus 4.
Gutsy.
Sorry.
gutsy. It's a gutsy one. Gutsy
Yeah.
choice.
But
Yeah.
I think Scrum is because for Rippers, it's you're going to be trying to stay adjacent or close to your fighters, so you've got the supports, and then so they only need two around you, and then I think you can score Scrum, and then plus you can score Scrum on your in your opponent's turn. So if they're trying to score it, you could potentially score at the same time.
Matt did ask us some questions. He asked who should he take to the Grand Clash,
Yes,
and he did say which
we said
should it be Thundrix, Mollog, or Grimwatch? And now he says he's just said in the channel that he has come up with his idea because he is a big boy capable of big decisions. Well, let us be the judge of that, Matt. Who have you picked? Who have you picked, Matt? Who did you pick? Let us know. We need to know. We need to know. Come on, Matt. Tell us. Anonymous Jeff, join late. Did we have a shortlist? That could be your stable. We don't have a shortlist yet. Well,
no.
we kind of do. I'm not sure people would be that interested in seeing all of those because I had Sparkle Guard, Despoilers, possibly Reavers.
Mine was Git's Eyes and Chosen Axes.
So it's very, very old school.
What counters Gooeys and Thorns? Some sort of cod piece?
What counters the ghouls and the thorns?
Steel Hearts. You're taking Steel Hearts, Matt.
Ooh.
Fantastic.
Gutsy, like it.
No, that's a good choice. That's a ballsy choice.
Yeah.
What counters Gooeys and Thorns? I don't know. Yeah.
I think warbands like the Gits do well against the ghouls because it's hard for the ghouls to stop the Gits getting in their half.
Didn't you chew through me?
Sorry?
Didn't you chew? Oh no, that was
Despoilers.
Despoilers, yeah.
And I don't think Grimwatch are as offensive as that Despoilers deck I picked.
They've got some good. They've got some good meat to get Snurk into as well, haven't they?
Yeah. You got the Snurk can probably bounce off of quite a few people in there, and once Snurk's in your half, you're not likely to get him out. It's going to be hard to kill. You've also got Drizgit with his squigs. So in 2 activations, you can have 4 people in the opponent's half. It's very hard to come back to stop people from then staying on top of you in that situation. So I reckon Gits could be a good one against Grimwatch.
ING, thoughts on bringing 2 decks and a Warbands and Blind Pit before the game? Played this in a local 2 times and got closer games because the choice. I think that was quite an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Bringing 2 decks. Yeah, we could do that.
I've always liked the idea of having a bit like with Keyforge, just getting given a deck on the day and having to play with that.
Yeah,
see how it goes.
It'd be interesting to. We talked about it ages ago, actually, making each other a deck. Just be a really crap deck.
Yeah, I know you've got Stormcast this week, and I've given you. I can't think of a single one now, but holding all the objectives.
The one where you can't score any. There's one that's worth 5 glory if you don't score any others.
Yeah, I like that. I've always liked the idea of having like a deck, a really offensive warband deck with just that card in it, and then just focusing on attacking.
It's getting more possible because you've got things like Amberbone weapons and Tome of Offerings and the trophy belt and all that kind of stuff. So you've got possibilities, but I still don't think it's as good as just taking some objectives.
No, I don't think it is. I think that's
spoilers.
It's one of those warband cards. It's one of those objective cards. I think that you think it could be funky, but at the same time you realise it's actually going to be a bit rubbish. So probably not.
I haven't played Despoilers yet, but they played very well against my weak Gits, didn't they?
I think you had a bit of a weak deck though, because you'd deliberately taken a fun deck, and I had a really serious deck. So
you did, yeah.
But at the same time, it's that kind of deck I'd be tempted to take because if it's all out offensive, it's hard to get that wrong. So it's just chop, chop, chop. Yeah. And they do well against Grimwatch as well.
Jeff is playing new score immediately from grabbing objectives. Yeah, I think that's the way to go with Gits at the moment.
Yep.
That's my Gits deck I'm working on is like that. Though it still has infestation in it.
So we've got a few questions left. We're nearly done on the questions, and we're nearly done on time as well. So I reckon we can definitely press through these. So one of the questions was which warband would we like to see next in Underworlds? So we know it's either going to be Nurgle, Daughters of Cain, Ogres, or I can't remember the last one. Orcs, the mixed Orc warband. Which I think there might be some goblins in the Orc warband. There might be some goblins in the Ogre warband.
Okay.
I personally would love to see Nurgle next. They're the warband I've been waiting for most.
Hello.
They are my very most
Sorry.
loved Warband of the lot. Robin's having a bit of a moment there. I'm not sure what that was.
You said that you're the ones you're looking for.
Oh,
So
I
I started singing hello.
see.
And then I realised nobody wanted to
Okay.
hear me singing
No,
Lionel
no.
Richie, so I stopped.
No one wants to hear Lionel Richie. Never shut him up. So,
no, that's true. That's
so
true.
I think out of all those, the last 4 Warbands we got coming, Nurgle are the one I want to see next.
Good luck with Infestation. Anonymous Jeff said, "Yeah, I know, but yeah, I've got there's various ways. There's better ways than the spell, the two focus spell, the name of which escapes me, that flips objectives. There's better ways to flip objectives now. So I reckon Infestation is possible.
Yeah, I think it's possible with some of the spells. Yeah, I mean,
Infestation is a dead objective in a tournament best of 3. There we go. Andrew's listed the cards: Invert Terrain, Out of Making, and the other card with Flips Terrain. Yes, exactly.
It could be tricky.
Lionel Richie. Thank you, Red. Thank you, Ed.
What do we think about Nurgle? I think there'll be like 3 high wound. I think you're going to have 3 forward models.
Be 2. I'm not sure how 2 would work.
I think it'll be 3. I think we're going to have a caster and 2 Nurgle fighters. I think
3 would give you 2. 2 would maybe not break the game, but it just because of the charging activation mechanic. I think with 2 you'd be left with not a lot to do,
unless they both have other actions that they could do on their turn.
Yeah.
So like do a thing which gives them +1 wound or something like that, or
create lethal hexes all over the place.
Yeah, that'd be quite cool.
Although you can't because you need the tokens, so that won't work.
So another question we were asked was, do we think Rebound is now a must-have card for competitive?
No,
I personally don't. I mean, if you're a because this is the one that just works on a crit or a dodge, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a 1/3 chance whoever you are. I still don't like it that much. I mean, I know some people are saying that it destroys the breaks game. It's the worst thing in the world, whaley, and gnashing of teeth and tugging of hair. But I mean, maybe it's just because we don't have it very often in our decks. But I
don't think it is. I mean, obviously it can be a game changer, but it's not a game changer often enough for me to even think of. Well, I did contemplate taking it. But it's just one of those things. I mean, obviously, a lot of people are very salty about it because it's just such a horrible experience when it does come off. And obviously, there is going to be the rare time where it comes off 2 matches in a row.
Yeah, that can really make you bitter.
And so, but it's just, I don't think it's that powerful. It just has it's a risk reward thing, isn't it? It's a very I think it's a low skill card. You stick it in there, and then eventually you play it it's very easy to play it at the right time.
Yeah.
And it leaves a nasty taste in the mouth if it does go off, which is a bit of a shame because the reward is so high. Stop being rude.
Anonymous Jeff does say that Rebound only destroys the game if the meta is pure aggro. That is true. If your opponent is grabbing objectives and not really going after you that much, or only doing 1 or 2 damage attacks, then who cares if you've got Rebound? It's not going to help you.
Rebound is how you kill stuff with gits. David, are you, because up above you said gits no gits no glory. Are you actually the guy who writes that blog? Because I haven't put that together. If
we're going to have to be
in which case I agree with you. Infestation is a dead objective in a 3-game rubber.
Rebound can ruin your game without strategy, possibly, but at the same time, if you're going for a heavy objective deck and you use something like Restless Prize to shove an objective out of the way when your opponent's just about to score multiple hold objective things, it can cause just as much of a problem, I think. I mean, I can see why some people don't like it, but personally it's just another card in the game as far as I'm concerned. I think if anything, Ready for Action was possibly a bigger problem in the game because it was so common. Everybody had it.
They did.
For good reason, because everybody was ready for action.
Exactly.
And we've got 3 more questions left.
Okay, go.
Here we go. So the next one is, I like the fact that new warbands have sets of faction cards. I don't expect GW go back to the old factions and update them. I agree. But if you could pick one of the old warbands and gift them some updates, which would you pick? And this was from Malachi. And so which warband would you pick from the old sets and give cards? I think I'd pick Sepulchral Guard or Chosen Axes.
Right, yeah.
Maybe
I think Chosen Axes need inspiration strikes.
Yeah,
I would say, of their own variety. And I think the thing about Sepulchral Guard could do with some sort of card that enables you to push them like Varclav can. the ghosts.
Yeah.
I think that would be quite nice.
Yes,
Like
I agree.
push 3. You use the warden, one that's specific for the warden, but you can use him to push 3, as well as make move actions. That'd be quite cool.
Yeah.
Um,
I think Ice Skulls could possibly do with something. Because they are, I mean, their cards are a bit weak in certain areas.
Who's that?
Whereas the Iron Skulls, Gerzag's
Iron
boys.
Skulls, yeah. Sorry,
whereas like Reavers,
yeah,
they have quite a few nice cards in their
they
deck.
do definitely need something. I'm not quite sure what though. I think they probably need maybe. No, I'm not sure what. Probably some better defensive ones. Maybe like reroll defensive dice, or maybe a shield or something to give Gerzag two shields.
Give them an extra shield or something like that. Because
Yeah.
I think it was the Gerzag deck where the was it Cursed Artifact came out in that one? +1 defense dice, -1 wound.
Yeah.
Which was quite nice, but yeah, they could do with something like that really.
Yeah, and again, they could probably do with something that makes them a bit easier to inspire.
Yeah.
Maybe they need their own Shard Gale.
Oh yeah, something like that.
That's definitely a double-edged sword.
Could just call it something like War, although they had a War, but another War which is like cause them all a wound and inspire them all, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the very last question we had is: do we think the game would work if there was different levels to it, kind of like 3D chess?
Oh, David Christie says he's not that gets no glory. In that case,
okay.
I stand by my point that Infestation's a good card.
As you haven't proved that you have any credentials at all, I'm going to reclaim my baseless claim that they are good. So, do we think the game would work with the 3D chess style? I don't think it wouldn't necessarily break it, but it would make it more complex, and I like the simplicity of the game as it is.
Yeah, it would certainly make videoing it difficult.
It would make it a little tricky.
I think it could work. I mean, I've never played 3D chess, and I kind of feel like that people who try to improve on chess are under hiding to nothing. But
it's done fairly well for the last couple of thousand years.
Exactly, but I think you would. Well, I can't quite envisage how it worked, but I think you might struggle with turtling type warbands, because you could hide in the back corner if the other person was 2 layers below you or something. I think it would be tricky. That would be an interesting idea, and I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule out that they might add height at some point, maybe not across the whole board.
Maybe certain hexes would be higher.
Yeah,
but
then they're starting to need scenery and stuff, which they've tended to avoid in this game.
Yeah.
It's entry level kind of collectible card type, trying to take that kind of X-wing.
Yeah.
People, players, isn't it? That demographic, so they probably avoid it. But I could see it could work. I don't think it'll happen though.
No, I agree. Now that is it. We are done with our questions, and I did want to address one thing somebody said earlier on. I can't remember where it was now and who asked it even, but somebody mentioned at one point of would we stream any games of I think Thingy Mortalis, which we've not played. We've not played that. We haven't done any games of that one. But streaming is definitely something we're interested in doing in the future.
The problem with playing that is we need multiple people, which we could do.
True.
But we'd almost need to have like maybe that's what we should do. We should have an agent's day somewhere and just stream games of that.
That'd be quite cool, yeah. And we are at some point when we get up to our next level on Patreon. So anybody who wants to see it, do support us on there. That we will be trying to get more games streamed on there. Now, Path to Glory, which is run by Jonathan and a man on the Path to Glory team, they do some streams on Twitch which are worth checking out, and they do live streams, and they do it via cam, which is very clever. And I was talking to Jonathan the other day and he was showing me his setup, which was very, very cool, and it'd be quite funky to do something like that. I don't know how we get the cameras working exactly. I mean, for starters, we're going to have to make sure we can get your camera working before we can do that, Robin, but I reckon we could do something like that at some point.
Definitely. Sorry, we've got some comments coming in on Facebook at some point.
Ooh.
It's Peter's just saying he'd love to have a live chat with you guys. Good.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because we're here now.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed it.
The other
Peter?
one's vanished. The other comment's vanished. I hate the Facebook bloody Pages app. It's terrible.
Is it?
You get a comment and it just disappears.
It does mind that in that.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys have enjoyed this evening. We've chatted long about Beastgrave. I like to think that our little Beastgrave chats are very enlightening, or at least entertaining.
Hopefully entertaining, maybe enlightening.
I am going to go back to the drawing board with this rubbish software, and I'm going to
Yeah.
hopefully have us ready. So Robin and I are both online, smiley faces for next time.
Can't see my new green hairdo now, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, he got it
Yeah,
all spiked up and everything.
that'll be gone next week. It's good job I'm not doing Movember, otherwise that'll be finished as well next week. Um,
Yeah, I mean, you can't see Robin's lovely handlebar mustache that he's been crafting for weeks. So, I mean, it really is the most impressive thing in the world, but you're never going to get to see it, so never mind, eh? Them's the way it goes. Yes, Ed, you'll be able to hurl obscenities at us live. And in a few more weeks, we will also start to organise what we're going to do in January at the Grand Clash, who we're going to meet up, that kind of thing. And we'll start having chats with our patrons to see what games they want to see, what we're going to play, whether we do our little stables matches, whether we start to sort of go off against the warbands that each other's going to possibly take the Grand Clash, that kind of thing. We'll have to see how it goes.
Oh, yeah, yes. I've just had a random thought. I was just going to finish on this note. Nobody ever, in any of the comments ever, asked us to play the Dreadfane warbands.
No, they haven't.
Which is interesting.
Not anywhere.
Is
Patreon,
because
YouTube.
nobody feels like it's quite part of the game. Obviously, it is part of the game, but yeah, it's interesting. Nobody wants to see them. I don't know why it is, but that just seems to be. So I'll leave you on that thought, and maybe next week you can chime in with some reasons why that might be.
Yeah, it's a good point. Why don't you want to see Dreadfane? Is it just because of the way they released it and everyone thinks that the Warband's a bit of a cash grab now? Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
I'm
discussion for
really
next week.
surprised they didn't put Universal cards in the Dreadfane box, but then maybe people who bought Dreadfane
Would be more annoyed.
It was called.
Possibly.
Maybe people who bought Dreadfane would be really peed off.
Jason says he bloody did. So, did you?
Did you? I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Jason. Well, we'll have to go back and look.
Yeah. Well, then next time you can say next time we ask who wants to see what matches, you can say that.
Again, Jason. The notifications on Patreon can be really terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so sometimes you get them, or sometimes you get one. You know, that's interesting. I'll go and see what that says, and you find there's 6 other messages that Patreon didn't bother to tell you about. See you, Jeff. Jeff's off.
Everyone else is leaving because we said we were going to leave like 20 minutes ago and we're still talking. So we shall leave you now, people. We shall see you soon. We're going to go off and record our games tomorrow. It's going to be Fiends versus Rippers Snarlfangs.
Interesting. Yeah.
So we shall see you soon.
Bye.